I was halfway out the spa door when the owner's voice sliced through the mellow lo-fi drifting across the lobby. "Excuse me, ma'am, I think you forgot something." I turned, caught off guard. I already paid, tip included. She smiled, polished, practiced, and completely empty. "This isn't about your service. It is about the refreshments. All fruit platters and premium hydration are strictly for members. Since you helped yourself, we'll need to get you set up with a membership today." I kept my tone even. I didn't touch the fruit. I was thirsty, so I poured a glass of water from the carafe. Her smile tightened. "That water is part of our Diamond VIP package." Her gaze slid over my leggings and oversized hoodie, my post-facial uniform lingering just long enough to judge. "Let us not make this awkward. You don't exactly look like you're swimming in cash, so I'll start you with our entry tier. 125,000 a year." For a second, I just stared at her. "And if I don't feel like paying 6 figures for a glass of water?" The mask vanished. She rolled her eyes, then raised her voice so sharply it startled the koi in the lobby pond. "Everyone, look, we got a jumper. Someone trying to scan high-end services for free." I didn't argue, didn't raise my voice. I just pulled out my phone and sped down my executive assistant. "Cancel the employee wellness initiative," I said, my voice turning glacial. "All 10,000 corporate spa vouchers, effective immediately." The lobby went still. Then the whispers started. Employees and patrons drifted closer, drawn in like it was entertainment. "She looks put together. Why is she stiffing them?" a woman murmured, adjusting her Chanel bag. "If you can't afford luxury, don't come to a luxury spa," another scoffed. "People really need to learn their place." Heat crept up my neck. The owner, Tiffany, folded her arms, satisfaction gleaming in her eyes. "I'll give you a chance to save face," she announced. "Send membership, and we'll pretend this never happened." As if she were doing me a favor after accusing me of theft. I took a slow breath, steadying myself. "I paid for my facial the moment I left the treatment room. You're detaining me over a sip of water. There are no signs, no pricing, no warnings in that lounge. Charging 6 figures for water isn't a business model, it is a shakedown." A ripple of uncertainty moved through the crowd. Tiffany didn't flinch. "This is an elite club," she said coolly. "We serve limited edition, mountain-sourced, artisanal water, imported, carbon neutral, rare. It is not for random walk-ins." "Is that true?" a woman at the counter asked, suddenly interested. "If I join, I get that every time." Tiffany lifted her chin. "Of course, only the best for our inner circle." The woman practically slapped her Amex onto the counter. Tiffany sighed, then looked back at me with exaggerated pity. "See, some clients understand value. Others just look for excuses to be cheap. They want the lifestyle without paying for it." The judgment in the room thickened. A few people openly stared, disgust playing on their faces. One older woman tried to soften it with false kindness. "Sweetheart, she probably didn't know," she said. "Tiffany, be gracious. Maybe she'll come back when she can actually afford it." I almost left. This bus sat 3 blocks from my corporate headquarters. I'd been here dozens of times, spent well into 6 figures over the years. Until today, I'd actually liked it. But the woman in front of me wasn't the manager I knew. This was someone new. Someone who clearly had no idea whose business she was standing on. "Fine," I said, exhausted. "How much for the glass?" "I'll pay for the water." I pulled out my phone. "Will $100 cover your artisanal hydration?" Tiffany let out a sharp, brittle laugh. "100? What is this? A lemonade stand?" "That water is $100 an ounce. That glass held 10 ounces. At the service fee $1,000. Or you send a membership." A collective gasp rippled through the room. $1,000 glass of water. "I need to try that," someone joked. "Look at her, Tiffany said, stepping closer, invading my space. What is wrong? Can't he scrape together a grand? Maybe you should stick to drinking from park fountains. I stepped back, the heavy sweetness of her perfume making my stomach turn. That was filtered tap water in a generic glass, I said. You reclaiming it as a rare import? Then prove it. Show me the bottle. Prove it. She laughed, sharp and ugly. Who do you think you are? You think we keep trash around for people like you to inspect? This isn't a recycling center. The lobby broke into laughter. Something inside me went cold. In all my years running a multi-billion-dollar company, no one had ever spoken to me like that. I had a board meeting in an hour. I just wanted out. I reached for my wallet, ready to throw 10 crisp hundreds at her just to end it, when a shout rang out from the front desk. Oh my God! Someone took a bite out of a ruby Roman grape on the VIP platter. You little thief! Tiffany's voice shot up an octave, her crimson stiletto nails stabbing the air inches from my face. I knew it. First the water, now the fruit. You're a habitual shoplifter, aren't you? She spun toward the front desk. Call the police, now. The receptionist froze, her hand hovering over the phone, eyes flicking nervously between us. That's when it clicked. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a setup. I knew she looked shady, someone muttered nearby. It is always the ones playing low-key that feel most entitled. Just send membership, Tiffany whispered, her voice dropping so only I could hear. Oh, I'll make sure your face is everywhere by tonight. Local professional caught stealing grapes. Think about your reputation. I knocked her hand away from my face. Show me the security footage. She let out a sharp laugh. And who exactly do you think you are, demanding access to my system? I know your type's banning sugar daddy money on knockoff bags. Then nickel and diming the staff. Pay for the water, pay for the fruit, and get out. Her fingers clamped around my arm, nails biting into my skin. That did it. Something inside me snapped. I wrenched free and, before I could think better of it, my hand came up fast, precise, and cracked across her face. The sound echoed. Silence followed. Tiffany stood frozen, one hand pressed to her cheek. I didn't wait. I turned and strode straight to the front desk. The receptionist tried to block the monitor, but I shoved past her and grabbed the mouse. The client database was still open. I scanned the screen, then found my name. Gwen Montgomery, low value, pretends to be rich. Mark up all products by 50%. For a moment, all I could hear was the rush of blood in my ears. I did always kept my life private. When they asked what I did said I worked at an office nearby. Because I wore Lululemon instead of DR, they did label me a fraud. I scrolled. Then I started reading out loud. Mrs. Gable, idiotic and wealthy. Push platinum tier regardless of skin type. Sarah Jenkins, desperate. Low fans. Target after the shoes payday. Claim products are French imports. Miss Lawson, high maintenance. Dilute her serums with saline. Offer free samples to keep her quiet. One by one, faces in the lobby drained of color. Is this how you treat your valued clients? I asked, my voice cutting clean through the room. Mrs. Gable, who had just handed over her Amex, snatched it back from the counter. Cancel that. I want a full refund, now. Tiffany lunged toward the desk, her face blotchy with rage and panic. Mrs. Gable, please, this is a misunderstanding. A disgruntled employee must have tampered with the system. She pointed wildly at the receptionist. You, pack your things. You redone. Then she turned on me, her eyes blazing. Security, get her out of here. Two large guards closed in, gripping my shoulders. I twisted, reaching for my phone. Don't touch me, I'm calling. Calling who? Tiffany snapped, snatching the phone from my hand. With a cold smile, she flicked it into the koi pond. Consider that payment for the fruit, she said lightly. Those grapes are imported from Japan, sweetheart. Worth more than that cracked iPhone. I was dragged outside and thrown onto the sidewalk. My palms scraped hard against the concrete. Pain flared, sharp and immediate. My head spun. Tiffany stood framed in the doorway, looking down at me like I was something she'd scraped off her shoe. Go ahead. Call the police, she said. My husband is one of the biggest developers in the city. He owns half the council. You're a nobody. Just another bitter mistress playing dress up. The glass doors slammed shut. Through them, I could still hear her voice, bright, performative. Ladies, I am so sorry for the disruption. Mimosas on the house. 18% of all services today. Then, lower but not low enough. That bitch really thought she mattered. Acting like $100 grand would kill her. We got a $15 million corporate contract about to close. I don't have time for peasants. I sat there for a moment, on the curb, staring at my scraped hands. I had a meeting to get to. Fine. I did swallow this for now. But that $15 million contract, gone. By the time I got home that evening, I was exhausted, sore, and still seething. Derek poked his head out of the kitchen. Hey Rebecca, I made your favorite butternut squash soup. Eat it while it is hot. I dropped onto the couch and picked up my tablet. Instagram. And there it was. Tiffany had posted 4 times in the last hour. Broke influencers should stay home. Can't afford membership but can steal VIP fruit. Embarrassing. PSA to all the mistresses. Fake bags don't make you classy. Get a job. Cut a zip today. Threw a full tantrum when confronted. Honestly hilarious. Then the photo. Me face down on the sidewalk. Being hauled out by security. High resolution. My face perfectly visible. The comments were vicious. A feeding frenzy. I tossed the tablet onto the couch. Derek walked over, handing me a bowl of soup, concern softening his expression. What happened? Who got under your skin today? I told him everything. The water, the grapes, the database, the humiliation. By the time I finished, my hands were shaking. She violated my privacy. She assaulted me. She is defaming me online. I sighed, my voice tight with fury. I am going to sue her into the ground. Derek frowned slightly, stirring his soup. I don't know, Gwen. Maybe you're overreacting, he shrugged. I mean, you did drink the water, right? Technically, she is not lying. Everything inside me went still. Slowly, I looked up at him. You retaking her side? I am just being objective, he said. His eyes drifting back to the TV, and honestly, what is $100 grand to us? It is pocket change. You could VIP it and skip the whole scene. People are just trying to run a business. Gwen, it is not easy out there. His words hit like ice water. For 2 years, Derek had been the perfect husband. He cooked, he cleaned, he insisted on doing everything himself because he didn't want strangers in our home. No, something about that felt different. He noticed my expression and quickly moved closer, softening his tone. Hey, you're just stressed. Let me run your foot bath, okay? Just let it go. No, I said, my voice flat. Actually, why don't you sleep in the guest room tonight? His face tightened just for a second before the familiar easy smile slipped back into place. Alright, princess. I'll give you space. I am right next door if you need anything. I sat there in the dark long after he left. And then, something clicked. The spa had opened last year. Derek was the one who recommended it. Said it was close to my office. Said it would be perfect for me to unwind. He was also the one who pushed for the corporate wellness vouchers. Called it a great perk for the team. I had trusted him. Signed off on the pilot program without a second thought. No, that trust felt misplaced. A quiet thread of doubt began to unravel everything. I picked up my backup phone and dialed my secretary. Cancel the spa vouchers. Immediately, I said. And I want a full audit every vendor Derek has recommended in the last 18 months. The next morning, the storm hit. Tiffany stormed into my corporate headquarters, her voice echoing across the glass-walled lobby. You can't just cancel a contract. Do you have any idea what that deal is worth? $15 million. Who is in charge here? I want to see the CEO. Employees peeked over their monitors. Phones were already out. My operations manager, Mark, didn't budge. The order came directly from the board chair. I don't take care about some board chair. Tiffany snapped. My contact is Derek. He set this up. She looked unhinged. Designer blazer wrinkled. Expensive highlights freezing with fury. Mark exhaled slowly. Man, the chair has final authority. Even Derek answers to her. I am going to have to ask you to leave. Her fist slammed against the marble reception desk. Call him. He won't turn me away. The receptionist looked seconds away from Tess. I hired staff for this. Tiffany screamed. But no equipment. Do you know how much overhead I took on because of this deal? You can't just walk away. It as breach of contract. Several employees were openly recording now. Mark almost smiled. There is no signed contract. It was a proposal. We're fully within our rights to decline. Liar. I'll sue. I'll go to the press. I'll go everywhere. In a burst of rage, she shoved a display table, sending brochures scattering across the floor. That was my cue. I stepped out from the executive elevator hallway, still in my morning running clothes, leggings, and a hoodie. Tiffany spotted me instantly. She froze, then smiled, slow, mocking. Oh, look who it is. The shoplifter. Her eyes dragged over me. What? Do you work here as a janitor now? A sharp gasp rippled through the office. My staff knew exactly who I was. I ignored her, taking a calm sip of coffee. Mark, did you call the executive team? Yes, ma'am. She asked, demanding to see Derek. Then let us not keep her waiting. I stayed partially in the shadows of the hallway, not quite stepping into full view. Derek is on his way, someone whispered. Tiffany straightened immediately, smoothing her blazer like royalty preparing for an audience. The elevator doors opened. Derek stepped out, polished and composed in the suit I bought him for his birthday. What is going on here? He asked, glancing at the mess then at Tiffany. He blinked, just for a second. His face lost color. Derek. Tiffany's voice melted into something syrupy. She rushed forward, grabbing his arm, pressing herself against him. Your staff is being awful, she pouted. They're trying to cancel my contract. They're being so mean to me. Her red nails traced lazy circles against his chest. You're in charge of this partnership, right? Tell them they're wrong. I watched from the shadows. Something inside my chest went heavy, dense, unmovable. Derek cleared his throat, glancing around. He knew exactly whose building this was. Tiffany. I'll talk to the chair. There must be some misunderstanding. She jabbed a finger toward Mark. He tried to throw me out. Me, your partner. Then she pointed toward the dim corner where I stood. And that cleaning lady over there. He let her insult me. Derek finally turned toward me. The lighting kept my face obscured. Maybe it was her performance. Maybe it was his ego. Or maybe he thought he had more power than he actually did. Either way, his voice hardened. Who authorized the cancellation of this partnership? Mark opened his mouth, but Derek cut him off with a sharp wave. I've been too lenient with all of you, he said. I am an executive here. I see the deal is back on. We're moving forward with Tiffany as ball. He pulled her closer, his head settling at her waist. The silence that followed was suffocating. Every employee in that lobby was staring at him, like they were watching a man step off a cliff. Derek, honey, Tiffany purred, throwing a triumphant glance in my direction. That janitor over there. She was glaring at me. It's creepy. Fire her. Derek said instantly, flicking his head in dismissal. Pack your things and get out. We don't tolerate that kind of energy here. I stepped fully into the light, coffee still in hand. Fire me, I said calmly. That is a bold call, Derek.